Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Cracking the Cryptic. So last time we did the Night Sudoku, which is pretty close to classic Sudoku, and it took me 174 minutes, which, looking at some of Cracking the Cryptic's YouTube pages, as far as how long it's taking that genius to solve his puzzles, I'm taking at least double the amount of time. And honestly, I don't feel like I'm moving slow, but I obviously am. But maybe we can recover a little bit today and just do a classic Sudoku puzzle and solve it without any special rules a lot faster. Trying to beat our fastest time, I guess, which would be puzzle number 1 at 80 minutes. I don't know if that's really how this is going to play out, though. We shall see, I guess. Because even though theoretically I would say that having extra rules like this Thermo Sudoku, which has no numbers, means I have to take extra steps to even get to the point where I have numbers to be like a classic Sudoku puzzle. It seems like the extra rules just help overall. I'm also noticing that the pattern here has this V shape to it, and I think the V shape here is intentionally designed so that this could be about as difficult as humanly possible in a classic Sudoku puzzle. But yeah, it is just classic rules. The numbers 1 through 9 must be in every row, every column, and every box exactly once. That's it. Arguably, if that's all the rules, you might want to be break that into 3 sentences. The numbers all numbers 1 through 9 must be in every row, period. All numbers from 1 through 9 must be in every column, period. Exactly once. Just don't use commas and ands when giving instructions, if they're somewhat technical instructions even, and that you can increase understandability. So we know mathematically there must be 17 hints at minimum to solve a Sudoku. I see 4 here, I see another 3 here, that's 7, 8. I see 5 here, plus another 4, that's 9, that's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So we have more than the default. With classic Sudoku, this probably is the point where just clicking this is the right move, and we can just go ahead and mark that one of those has to be a 1. Let's go ahead and mark it there in the upper hand, and then I don't believe there's another factor that can be calculated in that. It does, however, eliminate ones from here and here, but we already had eliminated ones from there and there because there's already a 1 in this box and a 1 in this box. Moving on to 2s, we can, let's see, mark this and this as having to have a 2, and we can mark this and this as having to have a 2 in it as a possibility, which we'll just do that by, I guess, hitting this, and then we'll color those in. I'm not sure the colors are really that welcome for this puzzle, because after something's solved, I definitely want the colors to reset and go away, and they just aren't resetting and going away. Don't think we can do anything more with the 2s. From the spot of the 3s, we know that there's a 3 option there. That's not inherently that useful. From the 4s, we know that there's a 4 possibility here, and then far too many other possibilities elsewhere. That, yeah, I don't think it's really worth it to mark. And we can certainly mark that as 4s if we want to. My concern here, though, is we're going to preemptively try to solve some numbers here doing this pattern and just looking, following basic Sudoku rules. And then at some point I'm probably going to just fall into the same pattern in which I'm going to have to look at every single square, and then when I look at every single square, that's going to be the huge time sink. 5 means what? That these or these or these or these can have 5 in them, but it doesn't tell you quite enough information to be helpful. Same thing could be true. We're just gonna go that route here and here. Sixes basically tell me nothing. Any of those can be 6s. Well, those can't be 6s. Any of those can be 6s. Any of that can be 6s. With only 1 6 on the field. 7s. Okay. So, any of that could be a 7. Any of that could be a 7. This can't be a 7. This can't be a 7. This could be a 7. This could be a 7. I believe that's all we can gather from that information. Nope. We can gather a little bit more. These could be 7 too. And these could be 7. And these could be 7. Perhaps I'm getting a little bit desperate. You know what's funny is this almost feels like this is just the exact same puzzle as Night Sudoku. And we might just be getting trolled here. That this literally is the exact same numbers in the exact same placement as the Night Sudoku puzzle we did before. In the previous episode before this. Oh, that would be the ultimate troll, but I don't put it past some fan of Cracking the Cryptic to literally do that. 8. There's a possibility there. If 8 can only be here or here, then we might have had a solution, but that's not the case. It can also be here. Almost thought I found something. There would be a decent chance of not really catching that if somebody was trolling and giving me the exact same puzzle with just removing the knight's restriction. I wouldn't be surprised if this is somewhat similar, but has slightly different numbers in slightly different places. That would be fairly believable too. Increasingly, I am just filling in every spot because we're running out of options now. Okay. This could be a 9. 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 These two 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 are already set, and this can be a 9, so either this or this is a 9. able to guesstimate anything else. Either this or this could be a 9 too. Yeah. So, is there possibly some mathematical trick here where if we see these numbers, that means something? I definitely feel like in some variants of Sudoku puzzles, Cracking the Cryptic has said things like the numbers here must always equal something and must always equal something similar to this. But I don't think that's really true. I think any variation of the numbers in any order is just as valid in classic Sudoku. If we were to try to follow some logic here, a 1, 2 in this box can, I guess, let's just fill in this entire box. We could just go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then we could select the 9 that's being here and remove that as an option. We could select this and these and remove the 8 from here and here. We can select these and remove the 7s. We can remove the 6 because of that. We can remove the 3 because of that. We can remove the 4s because of that. And that fills in the box. But it probably would apply that you need a either 2-pair match or a 3-pair. And so 2, 3, 4. Take the 4s off. 5, 6, 8, and 9. And we'll remove 8s there. 9s here, 5s here, 9s here, 2s here, see what else possibly we could get rid of. I don't think we have anything else we can get rid of, but I'm noticing that if we've solved this 8, then we have a 3, 5, 6 triplicate. No, we don't quite have that. But we might have a 3, 5 pair or a 3, 6 pair or a 5, 6 pair between these two. Let's go ahead and just add everything into this box. I think I probably started about at 10 minutes doing this, so I want to keep an eye in general on just how long it's going to take me to fill in all of the boxes. Yeah. 3, 4, and 7 being removed from that. All of these need a 9 removed from them, since there's a 9. Then all of these need an 8 removed from them. since there's an 8 in the square. And then here and here, we need the 4 removed because of this 4. And here, get rid of the 7. Which, if the 7 can't be here, and the 7 can't be here, that does leave us with just a 7 here. And I'm questioning now, I think I've addressed as much as I can. Why is this not full of things? Like, 1 should be an option, 2 is not an option, 3 should be an option, 4 should be an option, 5 should be an option, 6 should be an option, 7 should be an option, 8, 9, not an option. We have a 2, 5, 6 pair here. Okay. Is there any other number that could be this? Yes. Is a 1. Almost got to that point. If this was a 2, 5, 6 triplicate, then we can assume that there isn't a 2 or 5 or 6 in any of these others, which would at least eliminate some options. I think I've done everything I can there. So let's move on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is already in the boxes. This gets rid of 1s, and that should be a 1 gone also. This gets rid of 2s. This gets rid of 3s. Doesn't look like we're being touched by any 4s. This gets rid of 5s. This gets rid of 6s. Is there possibly a way we could get a quadruple where we have 4-digit options that are the only 4-digit options in a box, and then that would leave only 2 other options in the other 2 places? I guess that's the case. I guess you could have 8 numbers in 8 boxes, and then there would only be one place to put it. Put the 1 remaining number, and you could have 7 numbers in 7 boxes, and then there would only be 2 places. So I think it works in almost every way you would do it. So I think we just need to go forward more. Let's see. 2. Then 3. Then 4. Skipping 5 because it's already in the box. And I don't think we see a 6 touching any of these, so all of these seem to be potentially 6s. These can be 7s. Should have already been marked. And then These can be 8s, which I'd already marked. Then these can be 9s. If anything, I think I'm just wasted my time at the very beginning by trying to have simplistic solutions. I should have just marked everything to begin with. So we know there's not going to be a 1, 2, or 3 in this. So we'll add 4 to these. Add 5. Those we already had 5. We can't do anything with 6, so all of those are potentially 6. Add 7 to that, and then actually go in here and take 7 out since that's not possible. And then here and 8 here means the 8 has to be up in that spot. And then can't have a 9 here or here, so the 9 is either going to be here or here. Maybe we're seeing a pattern that will emerge in that if your base numbers are all in a wave pattern, maybe your possible solutions will all be in some kind of pattern. Or maybe that won't hold up as a guess at all. Add the 1s there. Add the 2s there. No 3. That's 4 as a possibility. Don't think we see a 5. So any of those can be 5. Then none of them can be 6. Add 7. And then 8 here, 8 here, and 8 here, which I think is already right. And then 9 here, 9 here, 9 here. So I think that's already right. Okay, next one. Possibility of 1s here. No 2s because there's already 1 in the box. Possibility of 3s here. 4 can be here. 5 can be here. 6 can be here. 7 can be here or here. We've already got that. 8 and 9 is already in the box. So we're close in this spot that there seems like there can only be a 1 or a 3 here. Then we should just, I imagine, continue this all the way to the end. But yeah, this is too slow. It is an extra 15 minutes in this process to fill all of this in. Of course, I can't really complain about being too slow because either you're going to commit to this game or you're not. that's just the way it's going to be. You're going to give it a try. You're going to take the time. It's going to take whatever it takes to solve the puzzles. And any just embracing of self-doubt or negativity is just going to ruin your experience if you let those negative thoughts creep in too much. 8 can't be here, can't be here. And then 9 can be here, can be here, can be here. So yeah, an extra 15 minutes basically to set it up. Now the question is, can we figure anything logical out, and are we going to have to fall into some deeper logic to figure it out? I don't know if you can follow deeper logic like you could with the Line Sudoku. If a 1 is here, then these can't be 1, which is fine, but that can be a 1. And so I guess this is really just a case where I need to make sure everything is as I suspect it should be. This one can't be a 2. Can we take any other information from the 2s? No. 3s now. Almost all of these have this issue where there could be a 3 in one row, which is fine, but then there could be a 3 on the other side also. If we can find one where that isn't the situation, then we'd be in a really good position. We probably would start making progress. Four, apparently capable of just being almost anywhere. And it feels like it would be total insanity if it's the 5s that somehow unlock everything and are the key hint, since there is only one 5. Probably is some balance between the fact that there's a pattern here for 4s and then there's a pattern here for 6s. That might mean something, but I probably won't ever figure it out. 7. This can't be 7. These 2 can't be 7 either. If there was a 7 here, there still could be a 7 here. If there was a 7 here, there still could be a 7 between these 2. I think I might just dive deep into the hints in this case too, because it does feel like to me there's very little chance of making progress based on my current understanding of how this all works. this can't be a 9, and this can't be a 9. I'm seeing what look like a lot of pretty patterns of where things can be visually. I just don't get it. Best case scenario, you have 3 digits that are being taken up in this row, and then you have 3 digits being taken up in this column. We need either groups of 3s or groups of 2s. We see several groups of 3s. If this was just 4, 5, 9, and this was 4, 5, 9. Or if we figured out this was a 1, then we'd have 2, 5, 6 here. Maybe there is some level of testing that we could think throughout this. Like if this was a 1, then these could be 1s. If one of these two was a 1, then one of these and one of these could be a 1. This is a 1. Same, 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 same. I don't think any of that helps. And see, this is really where I get the feeling that classic Sudoku is a little bit more difficult than some of the variants of Sudoku that have more rules that you can follow. That then with more rules, you can restrict the possibility of numbers. But this isn't even a pair here. On some level, we know one of those has to be a 7. But that's not gonna help me. The other thing is gonna help me at all. So yeah, let's just pull the trigger early and see what the first hint is. There's clearly something I need to learn. Where do 1 and 2 go in column 1? Question mark. Let's not go any further. Where could 1 and 2 go in column 1? It has to be either here and here, or here. Okay. As far as I can tell, that would be the case. You can't have a 2 here, but you could have a 1. You can't have a 1 here, but you can have a 2. If this was 1 and 2, then 1 would be here for this column, since that's the only option. If instead this was 2, and say this was 5, then this would have to be 1. And if this was 1, then this can't be 1. which wouldn't matter because then this could be 1, this could be 1, this could be 1. Yeah. So I see 3 places where 1 and 2 can be. If there is not a 1 or 2 in row 9, column 1, then there will be a 1 and 2 forced in row 4, column 4, and row 4, column 6. So that's supposed to say row 4, column 6, really? Or is it supposed to say row, column, row 6, column 4? Wouldn't be right either. Let's read. Let's try and visualize what it's saying. If there's a 1 or 2 here, then there's a 1 or 2 forced in row 4 up here. This could be either 1 or 2, can't be column 4. This can't be 2. But let's just follow that logic, I guess. Say that theoretically a 1 or 2 has to be here, even though a 2 can't be here. Then there would be a 1 and 2 forced. 1 forced here in row 4, column 4, and a 2 here in row 4, column 6. It's just wrong. This is another great example of these hints. It's just run-on sentences. And, if, then, and, dot, 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 and it just doesn't feel like the numbers they're saying are right. If there is a 1, if there's not a 1 or 2 here, they're saying if in the negative, if there's not a 1 or 2 in this spot, then there would be a 1 and 2 forced into this spot, and I think this spot, but it's not saying that correctly. It's saying in this spot. I don't get that at all. If there was a 2 here, maybe I'm just further ahead, then this would have to be, and a 1 here. Then the only places you could put a 1 or 2 would be here. Can't put a 1 here. And then a 2 could be here. But then if there was a 2 here, 2 couldn't be here. Yeah, this 2 would eliminate this from being a 2. Should then make this have to be a 1. Make this have to be a 2. And there's some reason why this can't be a 2. Just trying to move on here. Also, a 8-9 pair would be forced into row 4, column 7 and 8, which we kind of know that an 8-9 would be a forced pair here, although quite that. There'd be nowhere to place a 8 and a 9 in column 9. If there's an 8, 9, 8 here and a 9 here, then why can't I put a 9 here? Because the 1 and 2 here somehow not following any of this. And I don't even know what this hint is trying to tell me to do. Is it telling me to put a 1 here? Is it telling me to put a 2 here? You've just got such a terrible hint. Let's just go back. Let's try a smart hint at this point. Because I can't wrap my brain. And today's a new day too. Like, yes, I live streamed for like 3 hours before this. But this is as freshly awakened and as rested as possible that I'm doing this puzzle. And it is just not written well, which, you know, if these are hints written by Cracking the Cryptic, and Cracking the Cryptic is a genius level mathematician, which he seems like he is, it wouldn't be surprising if his hand notes just are cryptic and don't make sense. And yeah, we need a whole extra person just to translate the instructions down to a nice 4th or 5th grade level where anybody can understand it and there's just no room for confusion. It has become a meta on social media sites like Facebook where people are writing what look like simplistic math problems, and the symbols and the way people have been taught math are so divergent and so inconsistent that people are arguing about what the meaning is of a math problem. There needs to be a much better standardized style guide in writing instructions, writing hints, and just writing math in general. And Sudoku's not really math even. It's just organization. These could be shapes. But yeah. It's probably telling me that I should put a 1 and a 2 here. Is what I think this hint is saying, but I'm not certain. Let's try smart hint. Could not generate a hint. Please check the handwritten hints for help. This is stupid. And you know, if I don't figure out this hint, I can't go to the next hint, because the next hint is going to be based on either moving directly after accomplishing this hint, or it's going to be several steps after accomplishing this hint. And I certainly can understand where people might be upset, frankly, if they're already frustrated with a puzzle, which this classic Sudoku puzzle, the hope was that this would just be a breeze and I would have done it in like 5 minutes. There were some easy Sudoku puzzles in Sudoku Universe that were like that, definitely, but I also knew that this was going to be hand-picked and custom designed. So I guess what we want to do here is let's just see if we can reevaluate looking at these 3 spots in particular. We can see that if I put a 1 here in this box, that eliminates this as a possibility for 1, and then it means that a 1 has to be in one of these. And I don't immediately see a problem with that. And if I was to put a 1 in this box, then it eliminates these possibilities, and there could be a 1 in that. So I don't immediately see a problem with that. If I look at the 2s, if I put a 2 in this box, it eliminates this possibility and lets you have a 2 here, which that still works. If I put a 2 in one of these two boxes, it eliminates these two possibilities and lets you put a 2 here, and that still works. We'll have to take this further, I suppose. If I put a 2 here, it would also eliminate this possibility, which then the 2 would have to be here, so the 2 could be there. No real issue at all. 2 couldn't be here if I put a 2 here, which just would mean the 2 would have to be here, and if I put a 2 here, that eliminates those 2, then that could be a 2. If I put 2 here, it eliminates that, and that could be a 2. All of those seem very valid as far as spots go. If I put a 1 here, I don't think it really changes anything. If I put a 1 here, I don't think it changes anything. If I put a 1 here, it doesn't change anything. If I put a 1 here, see, if I put a 1 here, it would eliminate all of these and here. So we'd have to have a 1 that would eliminate all of these, and that doesn't do anything to stop this. And a 1 here and a 1 here still means there could be a 1 here. It's just like, it feels like a step is missing. 8, 9 in column 9 is the last part of this hint. So let's look at 8s. The 8 could be here. That would eliminate all the possibilities here, and mean that the 8 has to be here, which means then, if that's the case, 1 can't be here, then 1 would have to be here, and if 1 was here, then you'd have to put a 1 up here. It doesn't. Let's, I guess, look at the next hint and see if maybe that somehow helps us, even though we're not following that step. It's either that, or we just straight up brute force and start cheating, which is to just fill in a 1 and see if it says 1, or fill in the 2. A lot of these solutions, if they are going to rely on checking many constraints of the board and jumping all around, I'm going to have to eventually figure out a better strategy if I'm going to get good at that, or I could really just use save states at some point. I wouldn't hate if you could like hold down the back undo button, and then that would be like save, and then hold down the redo button, and that would be load for one save state. You don't need an extra button inherently, I don't think. What I'd really like to be able to do is recognize a pattern. If I could recognize a pattern of something like this and say, well, when I see this pattern, that means something, that'd be helpful. And sometimes it feels like that's what Cracking the Cryptic's YouTube videos are teaching you, but it's not so far really translating over to this game, and I doubt it's gonna really translate over to many of the games. When I click on something like 6 like this, it just demotivates me so much when you see there's only a 6 that's being marked, that it really implies to me you probably can't make any more progress, and it subconsciously I don't want to even look for it anything more. I just want to move on to the next possibility. Here we've got something. I missed something, and so perhaps this was the part that I dropped the ball on. We now have a 7. Has to be in one of these. Which maybe doesn't help us too much. If I could get rid of the 5 between these two, then I would know how this would go. But really, I guess I probably need to get rid of the 1 and the 9, because then it would be a 5-7 pair. Yeah. That would be more useful information. Now anytime this block is going to be under consideration because of this hint, I'm going to feel like I need to pay more attention to it. That may just be a mistake. Okay. We know then this can't be 9. One of these two is 9. Because this can't be 9. Which means one of these two is 9. So that seems like that would be somewhat helpful. I don't know how helpful. Again, we need 2 numbers in 2 spots, not more than 2 numbers. We'll just go around in circles one more time. Let's see. I guess this 2 means this can't be a 2. Okay. Pretty obviously, I'm still making major mistakes when filling in the numbers in the digits. And I'm definitely not honing in on the right box to focus on. So I'm spending a lot of time just trying to get to the setup position. Don't think we can do anything with 3. Don't think we can do anything with 4. Don't think we can do anything with 5. Back to 6. Back to 7. Well, this 7 actually eliminates this and this. Okay. Would that help anything? Well, we know one of these two is 7. So then one of these is going to be 7. And then whatever is balanced out will be the other 7 here. And that'll be part of the pathway to solve it almost certainly. would like to find a solution here without just going to the next hint. But I don't see it. I just don't see it. 3 hints in any row or column at best is likely to help me. And 3 hints in a cube, I don't think it's going to help me. Let's look at the next hint. Where do the 8 and 9 go in column 9? In this case, the logic is similar to the 1-2 case before. Well, I didn't understand the 1-2 case before. There would be an 8-9 pair in row 4, column 2, and column 3. And 8-9 pair, column 4. Let's see. Am I just miscounting things here? Probably am. Yeah, row 4 there, column 4, and column 6. There would be an 8-9 pair here. Okay, what's the problem with that? And that would place 1 and 2s in 1/2 in row 4, column 2, and column 3. A 1 and a 2 here. There would be nowhere to place both 1 and 2 in column 1. So the hint here is to figure out where the 8-9 belong here in this column, which the 8 and 9 could be here, but if they were here, that would force these to be here, which then would force this to be 1, 2, which then makes this can't not be able to be 1, 2, and then means this would have to both be 1 and 2. So I'm kind of following that logic, but I don't follow the full solution, because it seems like you could just take a step back and say, well, instead of the 8 and 9 being here, there could be a 9 here and an 8 here, and then there could be a 2 here and a 1 here, and then a 1 here. And I don't see a real reason why that's not possible. Or something else like that. So can't generate smart hands. So it almost seems like what they're trying to get me to figure out is that the 1, 2 must be here and 8, 9 must be here. I guess because if I did an 8, 9 here, maybe that's what they were trying to say, is that if you put the 8 and the 9 here, then you can't have an 8 and a 9 here. Okay. So it seems like I'm going to have to go through 3 hints, possibly, until I can really wrap my brain around the idea that there is a pattern here that somehow is going to justify solving about 6 numbers at once. That seems like that's what they're trying to explain, but I can't get it. I can get 70% of what they're saying, I think, but I don't see how that eliminates every single possibility down to there being only one option. So let's read this third part of this hint, which some labeling here would probably be helpful if it was just labeled as hint part 1, hint 1 part 1, hint 1 part 2, because these are very much connected hints that are happening here. And I wonder if this isn't just the entire trick of this classic Sudoku, is that once you get the gimmick down and make some progress, everything else will just fall into place. So it says then that row 1, column 9, this one, and row 9, column 9 is 8, 9. What in the world? No, I didn't read it all. What are they saying? They're not giving me the right hints for this puzzle. It's just wrong. It's got to be wrong. These are the rows. These are the columns. 100% certain on that. Row 1 would be this row. We're not starting at 0. And column 9 would be this one. We're not starting at 0. They're saying this is a 1-2 pair. There's a 1 here right now. This cannot be a 1-2 pair. That's ridiculous. I don't even see where you get to the point where you would say that is right. It just isn't. Yeah, we'll just mark it as a 1 so we can see we're wrong. Probably is a 2. Nope, it's not a 2 either. Row 1, column 9, they say is 1, 2. No wonder I can't solve anything here. The hints are wrong. Or the numbers are wrong. And the game seems to be playing by the numbers. Yeah, they're just backwards. What they probably meant here, that these hints, these handwritten notes are just wrong. And this is unacceptable, frankly. Like, I know this is a free-to-play game and I like the interface and all, but you need a little bit, you need to check your hints more than that before you put out a professional product that's going to lead to sales. Because this hint clearly is supposed to be row 9, column 1 is a 1, 2. And then row 9, column 9, at this spot is supposed to be an 8, 9. And I think now, knowing that they straight up are just telling me the wrong information and that it's poorly written, I think though the logic was supposed to get you to these 2 anchor points, because once you get to these 2 anchor points, let's not go any further with the next sentence, and let's just play based on what we think is happening here. If this must be either an 8 or a 9, and this must be either a 1 or 2, does that tell me anything? No, because it's still 2 possibilities. This could be a 1, which would eliminate this one, or it could be a 2, which would eliminate this 2. And so I'd have to consider those 2 possibilities, and potentially also consider these 2 possibilities of this being an 8, eliminating this 8, this being a 9, eliminating this 9. So potentially 4 different scenarios there that it wants me to consider at the same time to eventually figure some other element out. If anything, maybe the 5 would be the standout number here, but no. So let's go to the next sentence here. Now that there's only one place for 1 in column 9, which would be row 2, column 9. Because we know this must be an 8 or 9. Okay. I guess that did eliminate that possibility. I'm following that logic. So then that makes that a 1. So we can mark that as a 1. Don't think that does anything more. There's only one place for a 9. Also in column 1, row 3, I guess. Because this is a 1, 2. Yep. So you considered one situation to get to that 1. You consider another situation to get that 9. So before we read any further, is there anything more that I can guess? No. 8 has only one place in column 1 now, which would be row 2, column 1. Okay, probably should just continue down that logic if that's how they're solving this. So 4, 5, 2, 5, 6, 8, no, 2, no, 9, no. Yeah, I don't think I'm following any other path here. I could just, by process of elimination, say one more number has to be in one more place. A lot of progress can be made by just doing Sudoku on the digits 1, 2, 8, 9. Note, the 1 in row 8 can only go in row 8, column 8. Why is that the case? Along this journey. So eventually we're going to figure out that the 1 can only be here, but to do that we have to get to that. So let's just follow the logic. It says by doing basic Sudoku we can now do a process of elimination if we just look at 1s and then 2s and then deselect things before we click the wrong things. We might as well just go through all the numbers instead of just 1, 2, 8s and 9s. Just to be certain. Also, in part, we have to also suspect of what they wrote as a hint to be totally wrong. And so if they say 1, 2, 8, 9, maybe they mean 1, 3, 8, 9. I'm really trying to see here. possibility. I guess this has to be an 8. Which means either that or that is an 8. Either that or that is a 9. And either that or that is a 9. Back to 1s. At the core of it, it does kind of feel like I'm just really bad at doing basic Sudoku stuff. I'm missing some mental connection, some concept. It feels like. Was this really an 8-9 pair? Does this have to be a 9? Doesn't seem like it does. Seems like this could be a 9. Why did I mark this like that? Let's just get rid of the highlighting. And let's just try basic Sudoku here. I'm going to highlight the 1s, but I'm going to try and look at it from a different perspective. Is there a 1 in this row? Is there a 1 in this row? Is there 1 in this row? Is there possibly 1 in this row? Yes. Is there multiple options for 1 on this row? Yes. And this row, and this row, and this row, and this row. Is there a 1 in this column? Multiple options? Yes. Is there 1 in that column? Yes. That column? Yes. That column? Yes, 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 and yes. And I don't think... The opposite way of thinking about that would be to go through this entire column and say, well, there needs to be a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 5. Which that should be exactly the same as looking at this like this. Maybe this is a case of making mistakes, and maybe I need to just stop doing pencil marks at all, because the pencil marks don't seem like they're helping, even though they should be helping. Should notice something. Something was up. If there was a place where you could not have a 4, or there was only one place to have a 4 in a row or column, it should stand out like a sore thumb. There should be a higher mental challenge to figure this out, or figure out the next step. Maybe, just maybe, we have done enough. Did I just, what was I on? 6s? I guess. Maybe I've done enough for a smart hint. Maybe the smart hint is programmed better than the handwritten hints to actually be accurate. Yeah. I will throw out apologies if it turns out actually the hint is written perfectly correct, and I'm just so addle-brained at this point that I'm misreading or dyslexically misreading things. I don't think I have dyslexia, but it's not uncommon for people to move letters around when they're reading them. A little bit. Yeah, it does seem like just very basic pure Sudoku. It's not going to cut it here. And I probably need to stop using the background color options too. I can't wrap my brain around that. They're just distractions. Let's go ahead and do that. Just get rid of any color. So that we can focus our eyes better on just the puzzles. Smart hint. Okay, we do have a smart hint now. It says single box 2 can only go into row 1, box 6. No, row 1, column 6 in box 2. 2 can only go here. How come I can't see that? How come my eyes are so glazed over that I'm not seeing something that should be fairly obvious there? Oh. And see, no wonder I'm not making any progress here. Is my mind is just full on betraying me. And because I didn't see that one thing, I couldn't make any further progress to get all the way done with 2s. And then they said 1s, 2s. Let's just go back to the regular hints. Where are we going? 1, 2s, 8s, and 9s can be solved just by basic Sudoku. So let's look at the 8s now. Well, if one of these two has to be an 8, that has to be 8. One of these two has to be 8. That doesn't quite solve everything. Nines. There's only 1 9 in that box, which means either a 9 is here or 9 is here. I don't think we can do anything more. 1s. We'll go through the full cycle here. See if we can find anything else that we can solve. And ideally, this is the point at 78 minutes in, where I've really struggled with a classic Sudoku puzzle, arguably more than I feel like I've struggled with the previous ones. It also might just be a case that the further I get down the path of doing these puzzles, my brain is just going to get worse and worse. But yeah, I'd like to be able to get back on track, like turn over a new leaf, improve my attitude a little bit after the frustration with the hints. But I'm not sure what the next step would be. So, yeah. Did we get to a point where the only way a 1 could be in row 8 would be row 8, column 8? No. So we haven't made it to the end of this hint. Okay. If 1 can only be here and it can only be here, then that has to be 1. Okay. Then that has to be 1. And then in this row, this has to be 1 because we need a 1. Okay. So we're almost done with 1s, but you have 4 different options for that. And I think that gets us probably to the end of that hint. Let's see if there's any other thought process that can make a little bit more progress before I start to feel the temptation to just use the next hint. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go through this again because I think I'm realizing what I'm not seeing. Since there needs to be a 8 in every row, and this is the only spot that an 8 can be, that has to be an 8. Which makes that have to be an 8. Which makes that have to be an 8. And that finishes the 8 off. Probably can't figure out where the 9s are in any of these yet. And then there has to be a 9 in every column too, which means this has to be a 9. And then from that process of elimination, that means that has to be a 9. I shouldn't be surprised by any means that the hints are saying use basic Sudoku rules to solve it in a classic Sudoku game. That it really couldn't say anything else than that. Okay. So we still, if you have a pattern like this, won't be able to solve that. But we can look at every column and see if there's a single column with just one option for a 3. And we can look at every row and see if there's a single option for every row. Mostly I guess been looking for just boxes to see if there was a single option in boxes. Which that would explain a lot as far as my struggles, is that if I'm only looking at one of 3 major factors, no wonder it's taking so long, is that I'm just not keeping my eyes open to the possibilities. or my mind open to the possibilities. That being said, if we don't make some progress soon, I'm going to have to consider a larger, more complicated possibilities and multiple placements. If a piece was here, would that work? Or if a piece is there, would that work? And I think that's the hypothetical placement of a plate piece and then having to see how that would affect the rest of the puzzle. That's where I'd like the game to have some kind of digital equivalent of a transparency piece of paper where I could just pull out a transparency or tracing paper and trace out a scenario. Okay. I believe looked at everything now. I believe we are as far as we can go. Yep. Smart hint. A Y-wing. I don't know what a Y-wing is, so this might help me learn something. And we might as well just use the hints quickly. Row 6, channel, column 1, here, sees both row 4, column 3, and row 6, column 9. Interesting. I guess a Y-wing can be almost anything. Seems like that's just a pointless Star Wars reference. There were X-wings and Y-wings as planes. Okay, this sees these two, which means 6 is at one of those cells, which removes a possibility of 6 from row 4, column 8. What? Yeah. Okay. Okay, I see what they're saying. I don't know how to look for a Y-wing though. What it's saying is, I guess, here is regardless if this is a 4, it removes this 4 and makes that 6, which makes this not 6. If this is a 5 instead, then it removes this 5, making this a 6, removing this from being a 6, which means now from all of that, this has to be a 4. And then that may put us back on just basic Sudoku paths. And in solving that and making that a 4, that removed the possibility of this being a 4. So I guess that's a 6. Which then, again, solves a couple more things. See that there's a 5 now here, which then makes this a 3, and this a 6, and this a 4, and this a 5. We may very quickly just finish this puzzle, and certainly we're not gonna win any speed puzzling contests, for how long it took me to do this puzzle, nor do I deserve any awards whatsoever for how much I've had to lean on hints, particularly then being frustrated that the hints are written wrong and have a typo in them. Clearly these hints probably should have a flag, a hint button, or, I mean, yeah. No, you really don't need a whole system to flag mistakes in the game. You just need a system to double check the hints to make sure they make sense. And this might be a case also where the community of Sudoku fans may be niche enough. I'm not going to say it's a small community, really. It'll be smaller than, say, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare players or Halo players, things like that, but I wouldn't say it's in the dozens or in the hundreds. 500,000 people have subscribed to Cracking the Cryptic's YouTube channel, so from that you can expect that there's probably even 1 million to 10 million fans, kind of hardcore fans of Sudoku, more than enough for them to test the puzzles. And I thought that's what Cracking the Cryptic's Patreon was all about, is that people got the puzzles early, people tested them, but clearly the hint here slipped through the cracks. And I guess I would just encourage people to comment down below if it turns out I'm wrong and the hint is right. Every other hint, in fairness, seems like it has been right, and I've been able to follow them logically. But this one is killer. It's just way too complicated. And yeah, this is just gonna straight up be the rest of the puzzle. Just eliminating possibilities until there are no more options left. And I can very mindlessly accomplish that. So the last one, I believe, is just filling in this 3. Okay, so did I ever, at any point, was I able to wrap my brain around this big paragraph of hints? No, because really it is just part 1 of explaining something, and then hint 2 is just part 2 of trying to explain something different, that this should be an 8-9 pair and this should be a 1-2 pair, but it doesn't tell you that's what it means until you get to hint 3. And then it was telling me to mostly just solve things using basic Sudoku up until this point, to getting a 1 in this spot. So what was hint number 4 then? Hint 4 is that 3-6 can only go in 2 positions in column 2, which would be row 3 and row 6, which we can see there's a 3 and a 6 there. So you would have had a little pair there. There is a bent triple, which they're calling a Y-wing, which was this 4, 5, and 6 in row 6, column 1. If row 6, column 1 is then 4, then row 4, column 3 is 6. If row 6, column 1 is 5, then row 6, column 9 is 6. So either way, a 6 is looking at row 6, column 2. which therefore must be a 3. Row 6, column 2. What? That's not what I took, and that's not what the smart hint said at all. Maybe this written hint does eliminate the possibilities of other things. I kind of wish I could see what I had marked as possibilities here. I guess maybe the idea here is that that would have filled in a 3 and then we would have solved it. We would have solved it either way. Either figuring out this part or this point. The same bent triple also works to eliminate the 6 in row 4, column 8, as it forces a 6 in either row 4, column 3 or row 6, column 9. So that hint 6 is what I figured out, and I totally skipped. So there is this new concept though of a bent triple, and I don't know how I'm gonna find bent triples, but I need to look for them clearly going forward. And then the smart hints we know are random generated, or no, they are procedurally generated to be as helpful as possible. Okay, well, we can't really do anything more. Set that as a 3. That was a 5-star, more difficult puzzle. Undoubtedly, there's a problem here in giving free puzzles that are way too difficult. I guess it maybe establishes the fact that I bet all of the puzzles in Cracking the Cryptic in particular are very difficult and custom handmade puzzles, whereas classic Sudoku from Studio Goya may be where all the easy, more randomly generated puzzles are to play classic Sudoku. I would also say, though, that this is just not as fun as the variants. So I don't think I would particularly buy classic Sudoku and play it. I might buy it to just own it, but I think I'd rather skip to some other variant. And that took 95 minutes, which makes it only the second fastest puzzle, with Thermo Sudoku at 2-star difficulty, or at least unlocking 2-star difficulty, being the shortest at 80 minutes. And yeah, if that took me 90 minutes, it probably should have taken 45 minutes or less. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.